TV News, expanding your view.
It's the second part of Core Digest this morning, and the topic hasn't changed. It's still Jonathan and 2015, the gathering stum. And we heard from the reports taken earlier where northern delegates were saying that there is the infiltration of fifth columnists, people trying to bring in things that weren't discussed at plenary, and they are sensing that they are alleging that people are beginning to, other delegates and the leadership of the National Confab are beginning to infuse things that were not concluded. Now the question is, and we still have our guest Ray Ashina with us in the studio. Thank you for standing the calls with us.
Thank you very much.
The question now is the National Conference a waste of time and resources since we are having all this and they're yet to come to a conclusion?
If at the end of the day that they're not able to harness between religiosism and ethnicism, that means I would call it a waste. I would say it's a waste because if Nigeria has been able to spend a lot of money and then coming out to the final conclusion, there is still one problem between one place or the other, that means it's a waste.
But even subjecting the whole conclusion, the resolutions of the National Confab to the National Assembly, don't you feel that questionable in the first place?
That tells you that there's a kind of a hidden agenda within it. I said that earlier on a TV station like this, that there's a hidden agenda towards the national destiny. If it's going to be done, it should be done based on the demand of the masses. Don't forget, this was the demand of the masses. But if anything else should be done, should be to favor the masses. And if it's not favoring the masses, there's no need. That means it's a waste of money, waste of resources.
But if you're saying favoring the masses should be made public, is that what you're saying, for everybody to have a say?
Yes, yes.
But these people are representation of the masses, of
I want to say this. For the past few years, Nigeria has governed democracy. Have these people been able to do that? Some of them are doing well. Some of them are representing well. But I will say 70% are not doing well. They're not representing well at all. Some of them are representing themselves.
We'll get back to that, but if you're at home and you're itching to contribute on the program this morning, the number will be displayed on the screen, and would really appreciate your comment and your contributions this morning. So keep the calls coming in. The number will be left on the screen for a while so that you can have access to us. We were talking about the representation, true representation. We all know that referendum is not part of our constitution.
Yes.
Unless it is amended to infuse that, we cannot have a referendum. So how do you feel the general public can have a say? And do you feel that will bring the desired result?
I think with this national conference, they have been able to bring different people from different sectors that are representing the people. And at the end of the day, I would say again that this was the demand of the people, of the masses. Are you get what I'm saying now? This is the demand of the masses. So if we want to have a credible joint something, there's a way we can do it, and everybody can be involved. We know that this is what Nigeria is demanding for. Now, if we're not saying that at the end of the day that whatever is being said there should be added. No. Some will be thrown away and some will be going to be there. The one that is relevant that will move the country forward should be added to the constitution.
And if this old resolution is brought to the fore and we want to go by what the National Conference is saying, do you feel we, the Nigerian people, are we ready for a new constitution?
Well, what is constitution in the first place? Constitution is meant to have a good government. Govern the people. We put in this, don't do this, do this, don't do this, so that we can have a credible environment. Now, if there is lapses here and there in the constitution, that's a problem. Then they have to, if it's been amended, there's no problem about that. We should be ready for it. In the first place, we called for the national conference. That means to say that we are ready for change. Now, if a change is coming in the right direction, the Nigerian people should be ready for it.
But there are opinions in some quarters that the delegates at the National Conference are not the true representation of the people.
Well, I don't know the criterion that the pedigree that they will be chosen from different sectors to represent. But I want to say this, with what is happening right now, someone will say somewhere that I will be able to agree with them that many of them are not the right representation of the people. They don't represent the people well.
Why would you say that?
Because I want to say this, that while you're going for the national conference, we call it national conference. While they're going for the national conference, they should put aside their ethnic group. One problem with this nation is tearing this nation apart is ethnicism and religionism. And that's a problem. So if this is being put aside, I will tell you that Nigeria will be a better place. Look at every US citizen will tell you I'm a US citizen. You didn't tell you I'm from New York, I'm from this, I'm from this. They have that uniformity. If Nigeria after 100 years has amalgamated, I've never been able to agree that we are one. That is a problem somewhere.
But is this a problem with the individuals at the national conference, or is this a Nigerian
it's
problem?
It's an inbuilt problem of the Nigerian. And it has come to a state whereby the Nigerian people have to start working on their their brain, working on themselves, in the orientation that we are one people. Until we understand that, look at China. They have many ethnic groups, but they are united. But the problem here is that religionism and ethnicism is tearing Nigeria apart. If Jonathan is there, people will be speaking from the United States that will say it's our own. It's not about being their own here. It's about the Nigerian nation moving forward.
Well, if our president should contest in 2015, in case it emerges, it will be using 10 years in office. Should that bother us? What exactly should we be looking for? Is it the number of years a person is as a president of a nation, or in the administration, or in governance? Because we have other countries. Let's take example of Zimbabwe. We have Robert Mugabe. He's spent 30 years.
30 years.
In that place. Should we be bothered? What exactly should we be looking for? Should the number of years concern us?
That's where I still come back on this ethnicism. Somebody believed that, yes, this thing is being zoned or whatever. There's a time that what was on air was about zone or no zone, somewhere and somewhere. Now, if the number of years should also be a problem here, because when somebody have entered into the government, there are also people that have different idea. I want to say this to you, that if I am of the support of Singleton, because after the first time, second time, you find out the person in charge and that administration become exhausted with ideas. And you now find out at the end of the day, the ideas have been exhausted. So I believe one thing here, that the number of years is also there, but we should look more on the dividend of what? Of democracy. That should be the most important thing.
You mentioned zoning here.
Yes.
And if you ask people from the South, they still want President Goodluck Jonathan because they feel Nigeria owes that part of the country
a lot.
The seat and a lot. Do you feel zoning is the solution to Nigeria's problem?
Nigeria should not talk about zoning here. Zoning is for the PDP. It's not for the Nigerian thing. It's not a Nigerian thing. It's for the PDP. So when somebody talk about the zoning here, I am not in support. It is their own in-house thing. If at the end of the day they still bring back traditional town
let me hold you there.
Okay.
We have Alhaji Rashid Buhari calling from Ebute Metta. Good morning.
Hello. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please go ahead.
My contribution here is very important, like my brother there is talking.
Okay.
You see, the problem of the people representing the masses of this country, all of them, they are bad paid people. Living in the system for long. Let me tell you, there is nothing wrong for the conference, for the purpose of bringing unity, sanity to the country. But the problem we have is the same people every time. Like this, my older brother, why should we be there to represent the people of this country? He has not been minister, why should people that have ruled us, they have been in the system? So the recent problem we have in this country, they are part and parcel of the problem of country. The corruption you are talking about, most of them, you see them, they are living part of Nigeria. So how do you expect the Nigerian masses to respect this kind of people? People that have all different types of portfolio, that you can go to the state they come from, you can never see anything. They live there in Korea, America, and the rest of them. And the masses of this country, they know that these people they have made well more than enough of this country's money. I don't know what they want to do with money. You are talking about Nigeria at 100. What contribution have you? Because we are talking, when you look at other countries, you will see that the level of advancement here carrying the masses along. You understand me? You see somebody contesting election there is the governor, the person who still has case to answer with EFCC, and is still there contesting. Somebody that has been accused of different type of things, which does not relate to the masses of this country, have not contributed anything to the masses of the country. There are the people there, whether you are a politician, whether you are this and that, they are not any that they have been able to contribute to the Nigerian system. If they have contributed today, Nigeria will not have been what it is today.
All right, thank you very much, Alhaji Rashid from Ebute Metta. Thank you for your contribution. You, of course, heard what it said.
Yeah.
It's talking about people who are not, who have been in power and have not really contributed to the progress of this nation. And he mentioned something very important, the fact that, and I guess it was talking about Ekiti State, someone who still has a candidate who had so many questions to answer with the EFCC and still came out as a candidate. And of course, we know that Ayo Fayose emerged winner in Ekiti State. Now, how should we Nigerians, because at the end of the day, it boils out to down to the electorate, what should we look out for when we're going to the polls?
We should look at one thing, which I want to say here, is integrity. We should look at somebody that have integrity, that have the masses at heart. We should be able to ask ourselves a question before you bring out a candidate. Know who is this candidate very well. Who is he? Who is he? What has he done? What is his pedigree? Why did he want to get into office? And that is just it. Integrity is very, very important. We must understand the place of integrity. Any candidate that has no integrity should not be allowed to contest.
Then how do we know? Because we know that people talk about parties. Some have said the system in Nigeria does not afford the electorate the choice of many people. It is what the parties push up for you, you vote for. Then how can we go about this? Do we really have many choices?
I would say that Nigeria have many parties. We have parties. We have different parties, but many platforms, different parties. And that makes it even better off. Because having different parties, there are candidates of different parties. But the problem here is that we have come to understand this fact, which is a problem, is that we want to go for the best. We want to go for not even the best. We want to go for the one that is being known. And if the candidate of that one that is being known has no credibility and integrity, that's not been the leader. The party has done their own homework based on some factors. But at the end of the day, you will understand that the problem with this nation is what I call corruption.
What happened to independent candidacy?
Well, there are independent candidates.
Okay, let me hold you. Matthew from Al-Agbado, how are you this morning? Hello, Matthew.
Yeah, good morning, ma.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Please go ahead with your contribution.
Hold on, let me lower my TV. Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Hello? Okay.
Matthew, go on, please.
I want to tell you, I'm enjoying your program. It's a wonderful program.
Thank you.
What I want to contribute is that the problem of Nigeria, all of us are talking about corruption. That is true. Now, how do we define corruption in Nigeria context? Corruption in Nigeria is when somebody is not benefiting. If I'm in power today, everything will be okay. If I need power tomorrow, then the government is corrupt. That is why we are having the challenge we have in Nigeria. I think what we should do, if we can be able to build institutions, institutions that, that will make it impossible for people to be corrupt. I remember one day I was arrested while driving by road safety. What is that good?
Yes, Matthew? Hello? Okay, Matthew, thank you so much for your contribution. And it's talking about structures there, structures being put in place. But also in the resolution of the National Conference, we heard the proposition for part-time legislature in Nigeria. Will that solve the problem?
Well, I think that will really solve the problem, because when you those days when you know that you are going there to serve than going there to go and pick up things, I think definitely it will really solve the problem, because leadership is about service. We should understand it. We should make understand the fact that when you are going for leadership, you are going there to serve the people.
All right, it's Core Digest this morning. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Glad to have you join us on another edition of The Political Arena, the most detailed and incisive political show.
If you are a sitting governor and the opposition is able to stomach structure against you, that means you are wicked to the people.
Give me 20 minutes to move or they will shoot me.
He has no chance for survival. If he likes himself, this is the best time to get out before he perishes.
The PDP as a ruling party has failed.
So anybody who thinks that government will fold his hands and allow miscreants to take over the streets of Osun State and cause havoc is deceiving himself.
The good, bad, ugly and beautiful sides of the Nigerian political system. Join me every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. on OTV News.
Thank you so much for being there with us. You can still keep your calls coming in as we have some minutes more on the program this morning. And we're still very much with Ray Ashinawa. And we're talking Jonathan and 2015, the gathering storm. Of course, we have division in Nigeria. And Ray has been saying that we should put ethnicity aside, we should put religion aside, but you and I know that we Nigerians are very spiritual people. Are we as a nation actually going to get to a point where our religion doesn't really matter, or where we come from would not matter at all? And now to Ray, do you feel we can actually get to that point?
Of course, it's a matter of orientation.
Really?
We should start changing the orientation. Some years back, there is a reason to the black in the United States, but today we have a black man.
But we know how long that took.
So
after the abolition of slavery and when it was actually implemented, are we saying we're waiting another 100 years for this change to come?
Will not take long. But the issue is that Nigerians should be able to accept change. Once we're able to accept change, pull these two things aside, make up our mind that we need a change. Don't forget, when Obama was coming, when you're contesting, he wrote one word which I read clearly: change. And one thing Nigeria need at this point in time is change. Maybe we should borrow from the younger generation, because I believe the elder one, there is no good example coming from them.
So you say we should chase all the old politicians away?
I'm not saying we should chase. You draw experience from the elder people. But if the elder people is showing you the wrong perspective of corruption, that means to say that we should change. When you continue doing the same thing in the wrong perspective, you will continue getting the same results.
2015 is what we're talking about this morning, and we heard some statements alleged to the leadership of the APC. That is the chairman, John Odighi Oyego, saying that if elections are rigged in 2015, there will be parallel government. That is... So what do you feel this statement portends for us?
Well, everybody, if there is a word if. Naturally, nobody will like the election to be rigged, because the destiny of the electorate depends on who becomes their leader. So, naturally, they are making their comments natural, their own view, their own point, their own opinion. So they have the right to make their own opinion. It's their own opinion. But I believe that 2015 will be very credible.
But some
what is at play now.
Some have described the statements as inciting. You feel there is nothing wrong with a conditional clause. Since the if is there, then the statement is not wrong.
But leaders, too, should also guide themselves with their utterances. It is very important, because that is what stimulates crisis everywhere. But to a very large extent, the word if there is a condition. It's a condition. But I believe that the presidency will live above that condition. Yeah. Come 2015.
2015 will be free, fair, and credible?
With what is at playing right now. With what happened in Osun State and Ekiti State, I believe it's going to be credible. With
the deployment of troops, but some have described that as militarization and could cause intimidation.
This is a country that have been under military for long. And the only thing that the Nigerian man understands is force. So if we have an orientation that except we are being forced to do the right thing, we're not going to do the right thing. So why not we force ourselves and do the right thing?
Are we not giving the military the signal that we cannot rule ourselves as civilians? Then probably they should take over. Is that not the signal?
The gradual, the democracy is getting mature.
Let me hold you there. Olajide from Suleja, good morning. Olajide, good morning. Hello, are you there? We cannot really hear you. I think we lost that call. Please try to get back to us. You were saying something.
Yes, I'm saying that at the end of the day, it has to do with what is being put together by the people. So the people have to agree that we need a change. And when the change comes, everybody will enjoy it.
2015, we have money to borrow because we still have insecurity issue. We're still talking, though that has not been approved, to have $1 billion that we're thinking of borrowing so that we can have more equipment to combat this issue. And some have even described this insurgency as political. So if this insurgency, going back by what some have said, is actually political, don't you feel 2015 is too delicate to start thinking if we should borrow that money or not? Should we just go ahead and borrow?
I'm not against us borrowing the money, but I'm against how the money is being spent. If the money is spent judiciously to cut down this insurgency, that is wonderful. That's splendid. That is splendid. Because the value of life is very important. We should be able to value life beyond every materialism and even money.
But of course, others will say that the resources we have in this nation, the reserves, why are we not taking from it? The Abacha loot is still there. Why must we borrow?
And that's what we call corruption. If we have the loot there, we have money being reserved. So why will you have money and then you want to go and borrow?
Would come back to that. Ismaila from Kano, good morning.
Yes, first by. Hello?
Hello, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm calling from Kano.
Yeah, you're welcome on the program. Please go ahead with your contribution.
I'm Ismail by name. So I would like to contribute to my uncle. I have a friend on the screen. I was saying that Nigeria must be forced. It's wrong to say that we must be forced. In other countries, you know, because of the PDP, I will call the trend of the PDP. Look at what happened to it. If not because of the experience of the politician in Sunday, they will repeat the same thing in Ekiti. Why must you catch opposition, go arrest opposition? Why? If you don't have any plan to ring election, why must you arrest opposition? Why? That's my question. PDP, they know how to ring. In 2015, both the security, look at what one policeman was telling in Yobe, that they prefer everything to rule. Because it's just like when you put your child in a primary school, from nursery 1 to primary 5, without good results, to primary school without good results, what will you do? You will change it to another school to try it. PDP has failed countries. They are just there to embezzle our money. They are not interested about the promises. They are just there to embezzle our money. Because they normally rig election. I'm not a politician, but I always say this: PDP don't know anything apart from rigging the election. Because what happened in Ekiti, as soon as the APC did not fight in State, they will repeat the same thing. So why must you arrest opposition? Why? That's my question.
All right. Thank you very much, Ismaila from Kano. He seems to disagree with you about the deployment of troops, that there was an intention to rig. That is what it's saying.
There was an intention, but
according to
let's
him,
assume the intention, according to him, I'm quoting him now, but there was an intention to rig. You know, I've said this clearly, let us leave partisan. Let us be patriotic to this great nation called Nigeria that had a lot of resources everywhere. So let's leave partisan. Let's assume there was intention. Well, the intention was not carried out. So you're just accusing them for our intention. Whichever way.
He mentioned the arrest of party stalwarts of the APC. That why should that happen?
The issue is that has he investigated the reason why the arrest was being carried out? Let's investigate. Let's find out why was that person arrested. Let us put this sentiment on one side and face the reality. Let's face the reality. Let's face this nation being better.
And okay, back to what we were saying before the call, the fund, the money, the borrowing of money, the bringing in of the youth. How? Because even the youth are the people involved in insurgency and talking about the South-South militancy. Now, can we even believe in the youth of this nation to bring betterment for this nation?
Now, if we call the youth, I was in a program last time in a conference and I was one of the speakers, and I say that if we say the youth are the leaders of tomorrow, the future leaders, and the future is being destroyed, what will they lead? As a matter of fact, if you find the whole thing entirely here is based back on the youth, there's a real problem there. Because if the future has been destroyed, what we find out as time goes on, things is getting worse. It's not getting better. So, as a matter of fact, I believe that the youth should be able to come out here for take demand on leadership and lead. We should be able to have youth be sensitized and said, yes, that this is what we want. Even though they're not leading per se, they should be able to support what is right. Let the youth not be used against themselves, against their future.
Okay, now we have to round off on the program, but before we go, Ray Ashinewe, we've spoken about the many problems of Nigeria.
Yeah.
We have religion, we have ethnicity, and we have all sorts. Yes, we know we have challenges as a nation. What do you feel is the way forward? You've spoken about sensitizing ourselves, changing our attitude, but come 2015, what is the way forward?
We have to change our orientation. We have to put integrity ahead. With that, we'll have a great Nigeria.
All right, that's it. Integrity and reorientation of the Nigerian masses. But you know what? It starts from you and I. Enough of pointing accusing fingers at those ahead of us or around us. What are you doing? What am I doing to make Nigeria better? Are you going to actually sell the future and your votes with probably a bag of rice or some cash, 5,000, 10,000? The question I'm posing to you this morning is, how much is worth your vote? If you can answer that question, I think Nigeria would be a better place. Core Digest will continue tomorrow, Friday, and we must say a big thank you to Ray Ashinewe for standing the calls with us this morning.
Thank you very
much. And I hope next time that we'll beckon on you, you would answer us.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's it on Core Digest. We'll bring you the news on the hour at 11. Thank you for being there. I am Ebunlomo Adekunle.
The deadly Ebola virus is again spreading in West Africa. The virus has fatality rates of up to 90%, meaning many who contract the disease die. A subcontinent have witnessed over 900 deaths. Please help prevent the spread of Ebola by observing the following precautions. This is a social responsibility awareness campaign of Core TV News.